What's happening, YouTube? It's Simon466cards, and today we're gonna talk about why fewer and fewer people collect sets in this modern and ultra modern era of sports card collecting in the hobby today. Right? Once upon a time, many years ago, set collecting was the be all and end all of what people in the hobby were trying to do. And this came up in this comment you see on your screen here in one of my videos where AW8 says, and thank you to AW8 for his comment here, it's weird how little representation exists in the hobby for people who actually collect the cards as they were originally intended to be collected, as sets. Since the days of tobacco cards, cards have been released in series with the intention that you seek out and bring together every unique card and form a complete set. And the enjoyment and chase was all about doing that. And so this is an interesting comment here, and it's absolutely correct, right? Nobody cares about collecting sets anymore. And I think there are a few reasons for it. One, and the obvious one, is that there are a lot more investors. You can call investors whatever you want, but people in it for the money, and there's not a lot of money in collecting sets. So that is the first reason, and I will explain why there isn't that much money in collecting sets anymore. The second reason is a shift in how people in society almost think about athletes and about teams. Nowadays, you're more likely to hear about kids and people having favorite athletes instead of favorite teams, and how they focus more on individuals as opposed to the group. And that focus is reflected in this move away from collecting sets, right? They just care about one or two people as opposed to the whole collective. And so that's just another reason why that collecting sets is no longer a commonly done thing, right? But I think there's two other reasons why collecting sets isn't really a thing in the modern and ultra modern era, and it's really straightforward to demonstrate. One is the number of sets that exist. So I am on trading card database, tcdb.com, great website. I'm on the baseball tab, and they show you all the sets by year. And if I click on 1967, for example, there's OPG and there's Topps in terms of major releases. There's two sets. And I mean, if you want to call Topps Venezuelan a major release, I mean, I don't know about that, but sure. But there's two major sets here, 1967. You go further along to 1976, it's still O-Pee-Chee and Topps. That's it. You go back to 1950, let's say 1955, Bowman and Topps. That's it. And then if you go ultra modern, or even modern, to 2008, look at the plethora of how many sets there are. So when you're collecting sets from the 60s, 70s, 50s, even the 80s, right? Like let's go to 85. There's only 4 or 5 sets here, right? Well, like Fleer Update, Fleer stickers, there's not that many. So it's easier to collect sets because there's nothing else to do with those cards. There's only 2, 3, 4 different sets. But if you look at the modern, ultra modern era, like where do you start from this list of what to collect from 2008 baseball? There's I'm just eyeballing here, 30 different sets, and then from that there's also parallels of these sets. So how do you choose one? Whereas from let's say 70, well, there's OPG and there's Topps, so let's collect them all. All right, which one do you want to do first, OPG or Topps? But that's it. There's only 2 options here. Whereas if you look at 2016, good luck figuring out which set to start with first and where to start in collecting a set. So that's the first option, right? Or the first, another reason as to why collecting sets has gone by the wayside. There's just so many. Where do you even begin to collect? The second, or the third, I guess, reason at this point is the enjoyment and chase about doing that. Well, here's the thing. When I was a kid, there was absolutely a chase because it was hard to find cards to finish off your set. This guy's a millennial, whatever the definition is of a millennial, but I'm assuming this guy was collecting cards in the 90s. So was I. And absolutely collecting sets was a thing. But that was the 90s. Things are different now. And one example is ComC. If I'm looking to collect 1976 Topps baseball and I want to collect the whole set, I can literally get the whole set with a click of a button. You can see here, I am on ComC's website. I'm searching for 1976 Topps in the baseball cards section, and I've sorted it by card number, and this is the entire set. Like, with a few clicks of the button, I can get every single card in the set in, like, what, 5 minutes? Maybe 10, because there's a lot of clicking. Like, which version? It's so easy. I can actually click on this card and say, which version of this card do I want? And that's the problem with collecting sets. It's too easy. I mean, I don't know if it's a problem or what have you, but it is now too easy to collect sets. It's just, I click a few buttons and I could get all, however many cards are in the set in a blink of an eye, basically. You know, like they even organize it for you. Card 23, 24, 24, card 25, 26, and 27, and so on and so forth. There's no, like, this thing where he talks about the enjoyment of the chase. Well, there isn't a chase when you can do it in 5 minutes. And I obviously haven't checked all the sets on the ComC website, but I assume it's pretty similar to this. I click a button and I'm done. Or I click 300 buttons, maybe in the case of this set, and I'm done. So that's another reason why people don't collect sets anymore. And then if you're thinking, well, what about ultra modern or modern? I searched for 2007 Topps Chrome on the Beckett Marketplace. And here is the full list. Card number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And again, it's a click of the button. It's easy peasy. There is no chase anymore. It's not hard. And that's why nobody does it. There's nothing that really requires any effort. Unless you want to get into the parallels, the rare parallels. But then even then, the somewhat exclusive parallels like a silver prism or a refractor from Topps Chrome, probably not that hard to collect. Again, because websites like Beckett and ComC exist. It's not that hard. Combined with, if you want to collect sets, you don't even know where to start. There's so many each year in terms of releases, and the focus I talked earlier about in terms of the focus on individuals and investing versus collecting. And here we are. So I think that explains why set collecting is no longer a thing. It's too easy. There's too many people focused on the money of it, and there's too many sets. And that's why set collecting doesn't happen anymore. Do you agree with me? Are these the main reasons why set collecting doesn't happen anymore? I think there are, but maybe there's another reason I'm missing. Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you as always for listening and watching. I'll talk to you all soon. Cheers.